Hey guys, back again with another movie review just for you. Well, that went pretty good, that. This time it's 2012's The Collection, the sequel from The Collector. 2009, 2012. Now, this film is a lot different to the first one. It's got the same premise kind of thing, but it's like very, very different. You know, it's still the same sadistic killer, and it's still the same kind of eho. But it's set in a different place, set in a different environment, and so forth. So basically, let's get on with the cast. Josh Stewart stars as Arkin again. Emma Fitzpatrick plays Elena. Christopher McDonald plays Mr. Peters, Elena's father. Lee Turgesen plays Lucello, the protector basically of Elena, who's hired by her father, Mr. Peters. Tim Griffin, Andre Royo, Randall Archer is the new collector. Shannon Kane and Brandon Modell, those four are the mercenaries that are with Lucello. Let's see, let's get their list. Evan Way plays Abby. And then you've got all these other people. And then Navi Rawa replaces Daniela Alonso as Lisa. Now, my problem with Lisa is this. Wasn't her and his child practically dead at the end with the fact that he didn't turn up? So what's she doing at the hospital? So I'm a bit concerned about that. So anyway, let's go on with the story. So the film starts out with Christopher McDonald's character, Mr. Peters, saying to Elena as a little girl, you need to, don't worry, because Daddy's never going to leave you. Your mama loves you, even though she's not here. So I'm guessing basically her mama died. And just as he says, I'm not going to go anywhere, a car crashes into him. Flashback ends. And Elena is basically let down by a boyfriend. I'm guessing it's her boyfriend. I can't come, I got to work. All these people going, come on, man. In the background. That's got to do with work. So, her friends are outside. Her friend and her friend's brother, I think it is. To be honest, I didn't really care about them because they didn't matter in the end. I would have known if they'd been in it longer. And they go to like this rave party. In this big building where everyone's going, yeah. So I've got to do my little dance for the review. Anyway, back to seriousness. So basically, they're at the rave party and Elena ends up going in a room. I'm guessing to go to the bathroom. So she goes in there, she sees a red box, like the red box in The Collector, which had a purse in it. She opens it, and guess who comes out of it? Arkin. Good old Arkin. I thought he was dead, but no, he's all bloodied up and he's all over the place. Grabs hold of her, pulls her down, because this trap sets off. Now this trap goes through the whole building, CGI-wise, like this. And then basically this big massive chipper thing starts going. Like a shredder thing, like, you know. And it mass murders probably a few hundred people. While the collector watches. And he's going, and at that point you feel like he should be going, but he doesn't. Then there's another scene where all these people getting like this lift thing. And the collector's on the top of it. And he looks down and he pulls the lever and it starts going down to crush him. And he's standing right on it like, I'm Superman. Yes. Watching them crush. And basically Elena comes running out and goes, no, you know. And her friend gets crushed as well as other people. And then the collector opens the gate door. That's right. And he starts chasing after Elena. All these people basically die in the hallway because they run into wires and all this other stuff, like in the first one. And he grabs hold of Elena, and she's got a hearing aid. And he goes, alright, Arkin sees the collector, and he grabs hold of a dead person, and jumps out the window, landing on him and the car, with his arm breaks. I think it's his elbow breaks. But anyway, part of his arm breaks. And he goes, ah, wah, 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 you know. So then he's in the hospital. Basically rushing him in. They go, he's got his self-inflicted cuts on his arm and so forth. And then he's in his hospital bed. And his wife's sitting there. Lisa. What's she sitting there for? And she and the child dead? He didn't turn up with the money. And they were going to be dead if he didn't. So what? Did the big bad loan shark who had him on the time limit go like this? Well, you know, he didn't turn up and it seems he's disappeared tonight. So just because he's disappeared tonight, we're going to let you go and we're going to forgive everything that happened. So yeah, go on your merrily way with your child and we'll be okay. Don't you sweat, darling. Bloody hell. What a big, massive plot hole. I'm sitting there going, what? And then Lucello comes in later on. And he goes, oh yeah. And he goes, don't worry, Mr. Arkin. I'm here to help you. Have you seen this girl? And he goes, yes, I saw her. And he goes, we need your help to find him. And this is when one of the biggest plot holes of the film is. Because you're sitting there and you're going, hold on a minute. Arkin apparently knows how to get there by the cuts on his arm. Right? So if he knows how to get there, why didn't they tell the police? Because they go, how do we go find him? And basically he goes, because Arkin goes, how are you going to find her? And he goes, because I'm going to do things the police won't do. So there's part of me thinking, oh, it's because they wanted to kill the collector. So basically Lucello and his mercenaries, who absolutely suck, basically listen to Arkin, because Arkin goes like this. Left. Right, left, then right, then left, then right. And you're like, And then they come across like this big massive hotel building thing. And all I kept thinking was, here we go again. Not because it's the same, because it's completely different to the original one in the fact it was a smaller house. Obviously not a big massive building. But I'm thinking, here we go again. People are going to go into a building. They're going to be picked off one by one. And we're going to be seeing the collector go like this. So, they get in the building. Don't split up. Don't split up. Lynn, you stay here. Lynn being played by Brandon McDowell. Now, he looks like a pretty big fella. All of a sudden, he hears a noise, and the collector just stabs him to death. And you're like, well, he was a good merc then, wasn't he? He was a good mercenary. Just died. Because mercenaries just do that. Mercenaries are stupid. They just die. They're not called mercenaries for no reason. You know, they just die for the sake of it. So basically, then you've got Wally, Dre, Lucello, and Paz, and you've got Arkin. They're going about looking for Elena, sorry. And she looks out of the hole in the box. Now, the box she's in looks massive because she's sitting in it like this. Like, oh, hello, you know, I can move my whole body like this. But when I first was thrown in it, I couldn't. And you're like, Looks through the hole. And you see the collector doing something to this bloke. And he puts this face thing on him, like skin that had been cut off, like it was Leatherface or something. And the bloke's screaming. And then you see the collector go like this to the eye hole. Like, and she goes, ah. Later on, she gets out. She starts wandering around, and Arkin wanders around on his own, and everybody starts getting killed. And there's a bit in it where these people that are like zombies, but they're like drugged up and all this, with their tongues cut out and all sorts of things, run at them, and they're shooting at them, and you're like, what? There's zombies in this movie. So you're like, so he collects people to do experiments on them, to make them into like living zombies, kind of like how Jeffrey Dahmer wanted to. Yeah, this is getting interesting. Because it's not just a maniac goes in people's houses, sets up elaborate traps that take hours just for the fun of it to kill possibly 4 people. No, he does a whole massive building that he doesn't even live in to do this stuff to him. Leaves at certain points to go and do his own thing in his own home. Yeah, that's what we do. So, then they go, so basically there's a scene where the collector puts down like this big massive hook and catches Wally by the mouth, pulls him up, jumps down, grabs hold of Paz, gets her upside down, gets her swung around on a hook, you know, into another room, fights Lucello, and you're like, hold on a minute, this guy's supposed to be an armatologist, whatever the bug thing is. I always get the name wrong. And you're sitting there going, hold on a minute. So first of all, the collector must be a multi-millionaire because he's got big, massive buildings. He can afford all these elaborate traps like Jigsaw does. And Jigsaw's got a lot of money. And then you're sitting there going, and he can fight. Did he used to be James Bond? Was it Daniel Craig? Was it Sean Connery or Pierce Brosnan? Because this guy could fight like anything. And you're like, was he a mercenary? Right? So you're sitting there going, okay. So then you see another flashback, basically, of Elena and Lucello. Lucello saved her from the car being on fire while her dad couldn't get to her because his leg was broken. They're hugging and they're looking at each other like, oh yeah, you're my baby girl. You're my baby girl, you are. Yeah, you are, you know? And you're sitting there going, okay, so this is supposed to be building up relationships, but they're, you know, close. So then you basically watch as Lucello goes around with Arkin trying to save Elena. Elena bumps into, let's get her name up, Abby, who goes, I'm his favourite, you know. I'm his favourite. And she's really creepy. And she ends up getting killed so stupidly later on. And there's some real good gore in this, some real good, you know, traps and so forth. But the second one just feels nowhere as good as the first one. Like, the creepiness is gone. It's more like an action horror kind of thing, if you know what I mean. It's kind of like watching Resident Evil. It's horrific. It's a horror film, like horror game adaptation. But there's so much action in it that you feel it's more of an action film. So they're in the thing, and basically there's a bit where they're fighting, and Lucello gets his hand trapped on some, basically, nails. And if he moves his hand, this big, massive dungeon thing's going to fall up. So it goes like this, talking. Save Elena. Whatever you do, save her. Oh, no, I found the family. And you see him putting his leg on the dead dog. Because for some reason, the collector loves letting dogs go and shooting at them. Yeah, that's right. The collector in this movie shoots at everybody and gets a practically really bad shot, shoots the dogs that he let loose, and you're sitting there going, if he's got a gun, why didn't he use this in the first place? Why is he walking around thinking? So there's another part in the film, I was going to say game there, another part in the film, where I was like, what the hell's going on? Because Arkin goes, give me your gun, Lucello. I've got a plan. There's two homeless people outside the building further down. What does he do? He shoots one. He shoots a poor homeless man so that they call the police. And then 10 seconds later, the police and ambulance are there. 10 seconds later. I don't think I've ever seen that happen. Oh, we need a police and ambulance. 10 seconds. Here they are. More like half an hour. So they're there and he shoots them again. Apparently they know they're there now. So they're going to try and get in. That's why it takes another 20 odd minutes before they even try and get in the building. So basically, people die. Ends up Lucello, Arkin left. And Lucello's finished, you think. So Arkin's trying to stop the collector. And Elena's trying to get out. All of a sudden, it's about to finish him off. And all of a sudden, you hear... You don't hear that, but you should have done. And there's Lucello going, like, I'm going to do you in now. And you're like, yay! Come on, Lucello, let's see some good fighting. So Lucello fights, and basically Lucello gets decimated. It cuts the collector twice, and then he gets stabbed. And you're like, yeah, a real badass mercenary you are, who works for that family. For the whole movie, you're like, this guy's a badass. You can feel it. You can see it. And he dies. And you're just like, so the collector is not only a big martial artist, is a big military guy as well. Because he knows how to handle guns. He knows how to handle knives. It can beat up mercenaries like they're nothing, 4 at a time, 3 at a time. Yet it can't beat Arkin up. That's right. Arkin goes for him, he's beating the crap out of him, and you're like, ah. So a handyman slash con artist who steals people, not steals people, steals from people, can beat the hell out of him. Yeah. So what happens? Arkin gets a knife right through one cheek and it goes to the other. It's like, ah. And the collector pulls it out and he keeps on punching the collector in the face. Elena's bashing on the door to try and tell him to let her out. And all he does, Arkin, is throw him everywhere, punches him, and he grabs hold of him like this, goes, look at me, and the collector goes, throws him down, throws him down and shoot on all these dead bodies. Dead cut bodies. It looks like there's like hundreds of bodies in there. And then you hear some of the living dead kind of people in the background. And he's like this. Oh, the collector looking up. And Arkin sets a bit of rag on fire and throws it down. And you see him on fire. Right? But that's all you see. Him on fire. And then you see Arkin getting outside. So I'm guessing a few minutes later, Arkin walks around. And he sees the collector's mask is on the side, but there's no body. Uh-oh, he's alive. He's alive. And that's when Mr. Peters turns up and Elena runs to her dad and he looks at Arkin like, thank you. Thank you. You only got out about 5 minutes ago, but I knew you were here. Because nobody told me. Yeah, nobody told me you were here. Unless they did, I didn't see it. But it didn't seem that way. So anyway. Then the next scene cuts to this guy walking indoors. You don't see his face. You just see him. He puts his little radio on. Goes upstairs. He goes to big music, different. And he goes, and he pulls a knife out. And he goes downstairs. And he sees the red box like he threw pulling. And Arkin says something about, Arkin pulls a gun on his head. And basically says to him, your dad really messed you up, didn't he? Because he ran a museum with bugs. Yeah, and insects. You're sitting there going, oh yeah, shoot him, Arkin. Shoot him. Shoot him. That's it. Shoot him, my boy. Says, turn around. So he turns around. And he goes, you're going to kill me. And he goes, no, I'm going to make you feel everything you made me feel. And then I'm going to kill you. And then basically goes like, and he kicks him through the finger, slams his hand in the box. And that's the end. So it looks like they were planning for a sequel. So whether or not the sequel happens, who knows? I've got to be honest with you, I don't know if I want a sequel. Because what they're going to do, have Arkin basically torture him through the whole movie. And then him escape, and then him have to kill him. It seems a bit, You know, I did like the film. I thought it was really action-packed. There's some things I didn't like how he shot the homeless guy. I know it was to kind of get away. And Lucello says, good thinking, basically. And I'm sitting there going, but that poor man's been shot. Guess the person who made this movie didn't care about the homeless. So you're sitting there going, why didn't they tell the police in the first place so the SWAT team could go in? Why, how the hell did the collector afford that massive place? How did he beat the mercenaries with his fists? You know what I mean? You're sitting there going, this guy's a millionaire. He's a big mercenary fan, or he probably watched a lot of Ultimate Force or Flashpoint or martial arts films to be able to beat them. And you're just sitting there going, in the realm of reality, this won't happen. You know, it's like, how did Phil not see the blades in the nightclub? But we're going to slash them. How did they not see them? But the thing is, this is just like the other movie in the fact that if you look at all the things which are really, really silly and stupid, you're not going to enjoy the film. So like most horror films, you've got to kind of just go with it. Turn your brain off, enjoy the action, enjoy just the whole thing, really. It's a fun ride if you don't examine everything, if you don't think, hold on this, hold on that. I don't think it's as good as the first one because it doesn't have that dark, gritty feeling to it. It's still got the horror element, and it's still got like a little bit of dark factor. But because it's more action than it is the sneaking about, like in the first one, and that kind of claustrophobic feeling that was in the first one, it's not as good. But I did enjoy the action more because I just liked it. So I thought all the characters did pretty well. I mean, there was no real character development. Elena's was that she was deaf. I mean, she had a hearing aid. But Lucello looked after her a lot. That was basically it. The collector's backstory bit was a bit about his dad running a museum. So there weren't much to it. And Arkin, there was nothing really on Arkin other than that his wife was still alive. So there was no real character development. And I know it's a horror movie, but I like seeing character developments, you know? I feel like I'd want to care for the characters. I didn't care for any of the mercenaries at all. Arkin I cared about because I'd watched the first one and enjoyed him in it and thought, oh, it's in this one. Yay. You know, I bought it on release day, that film, when I first watched it, to be honest. But I didn't care about Elena's friends before they got killed. You know, I enjoyed Elena, but she seemed like she was just walking around half the time, screaming. You know, that she wasn't fighting back. It was like Arkin was jumping in the way. Lucello was jumping in the way. I would have liked to have seen her fight back a little bit more. So, you know, the film is okay. The film is a fun ride. It's got some good action parts in it. It's got some good shocking parts in it. Not shocking parts like, but shot like, ah. So, I do recommend giving the collection a go. If you haven't seen it, I recommend watching the first one first. One of the things I do like about this cover is if you look at that, it looks like the body has got its legs up in the air and the mask is eating her out. That's what it looks like to me. And I think that's quite funny. But yeah, if you haven't seen the collection, definitely watch the collector first to get some idea on the Arkin character and the collection character. Another scene in this movie which I didn't get, and this is going to be the last bit I'll say about the movie, is there's a bit where Paz, Elena, and Arkin are locked in a cage that's fallen down on them. And the collector's going to set the place on fire, basically blow them up. Like an old horror, like an old evil genius. I'm going to blow you up. And Arkin's banging on the gate, banging on the fence thing, you know, on the cage, and going, do you remember me? Do you remember me? And you're like, hold on a minute. Didn't you just get away like a day ago? So he would remember you, surely. Do you remember me? Because I'll tear you apart. I'll tear you limb from limb. And the collector's just looking at him like, and you're like, Arkin, have you got amnesia? Have you got like some memory issues because you got out of a box about a day ago and you think he doesn't remember you? And obviously, in order for you to have been still alive, surely he must have fed you or something. You know what I mean? So that was another plot hole in my view. But yeah, I recommend watching the collection, but watch the collector first if you get the chance. If not, it doesn't really matter. You just miss on some character development of Arkin, which doesn't matter in the end really, other than why he's in this one in the box. So yeah, it's a fun ride. I'm going to give it a 3 because I like the action. I found it fun. It's not as good as the first one when it comes to tense and suspension and like being thrilling. And the one thing I did like about the first one more was the tension rises a lot. But like I said in my review, it kind of gets weak in the second half because that all goes out the window. So yeah, I give this a 3 because I enjoyed it. I thought it was fun, and if you don't take it seriously, it can be a really good movie. Only 82 minutes. It's not bad. It doesn't drag, and it feels like a lot of fun. So as always, guys, thanks for watching. Let me know what you think of the collection down below, and I hope you enjoyed this review. And if you haven't, please subscribe. Thanks for watching, guys, and take care.